Hi, welcome to the tutorial. One of my subscribers has asked me to do a tutorial on the time speed node in DaVinci Fusion, and that is essentially the speed ramping on the edit page, which I've set up here. Now, if you were to take this footage into Fusion by clicking here, even though the speed ramp has been applied to it, it is not brought into Fusion, which is a real pain in the buttocks. So let me show you how you do that using that TimeStretcher node that I was talking about. So I downloaded this footage from Pexels. Just going to double click on it. I'm just going to bring the video in to the timeline like that. Make sure my time bars are above it. Right click and then go open in the Fusion page. Within Fusion, it likes to rename things. So here's our video footage. So I'm going to hit F2 and I'm going to call that skateboarding. To add our time stretcher, we're going to shift spacebar. I'm going to type in time, and you do have to be careful because there's three versions here: time mapper, time speed, time stretcher. We're after the time stretcher, so let's click on that. When you click on the time stretcher and hit play, the first thing you'll notice is that it just doesn't do anything. It is useless. No one can use it. So what we need to do is set up some variables. So go to frame 0, and in the source time here on the right hand side, click on the keyframe here. Now if you click down, you'll see it's actually created a keyframe for us here on 166. It'll be different on your machine. We need to delete that keyframe. We need to go right to the end, 358. Now our timeline says 358, so we need to come up here to our source time and change that to 358 as well. And when we go back to the beginning, it plays normally. Now the way the time stretcher works is if I go to frame 100, create a keyframe and change the source time from 100 to 50, what will happen is it's going to play 50 frames in 100 frames. So essentially it's going to slow it down, as you can see here. We can also do the reverse. If I go back to that frame and change that to 200, it's going to play 200 frames within the space of 100 frames. So it's going to speed it up like this. Very Benny Hill. Right, let's go back to that frame. We don't want it to slow down there. We're going to change that to 100, like so. And he jumps about there, so that's about 110 through 150. So we'll go to frame 200 and we create a keyframe there. And because we're slowing it down, we're going to change that to 150. So our timeline says 200 here, but our source time says 150, so we know it's slowing it down. So let's hit play. Now, if you want to time stretch it like you would on the edit page, you can click on the time stretcher node here, come up to the spline window just here, make sure it's selected, hit zoom to fit if it's not already selected, and it brings up all your keyframes just here. There's a really cool function in the spline window. If I select these two keys like that and come down here and hit the shape box, I can actually reshape the animation by moving it forwards and backwards like so. So I can make it longer or shorter as needs be, which is about as close to this speed ramping on the edit page. Now one thing you will notice is if I zoom in just there, you can see we're getting this horrible echo and the image doesn't look very good at all. And the reason for that is we need to add a node called a optical flow. So we're going to hit shift spacebar and hit OP. There we are, and it comes up optical flow. We're just going to add that. Now when you hit play on that, you quickly find out it does sod all. It is useless. It is a wet kipper. And the reason for that is because the optical flow needs to go in front of the time stretcher. It took me many headache tablets to figure that out. So let's connect it properly. Click on the time stretcher, come up to the interpolation mode, and make sure you've got it on flow, and then that will make sure it uses the optical flow in the previous node tree here. Then what we're going to do is click on the optical flow, and when we come up, we're greeted with two options. We've got classic and we've got advanced. This is what classic looks like, and this is what advanced looks like. And the difference between the two is the classic uses your CPU and the advanced uses your GPU. So I found if you don't want to set fire to your computer, it's better to use your GPU. So we're going to just change a couple of settings here. I'm going to change the iteration count. That means how many in-between frames it's going to generate per second from 10. I'll change it up to 200. I'm also going to change the smoothness up to say 150 as well. Now when we go back to our timeline and render that, so it took about 4 minutes to render that. And when you play it back, and I've done this deliberately, you quickly see a mistake. And let me show you what that is. You go into the Fusion page and go along about there. If I zoom in, you can see that it's actually warping the image, which is one of the settings within the optical flow, and it does that to give the maximum look. In the edit page, there is an option to automatically fix this, but in the Fusion page, you have to manually do it yourself. And the way you do that is you click on the TimeStretcher node, and then you click on the transform here. So on the transform node, come over to the side. I'm going to change that to 1.005, like that. Then let's go back. So here we are, it's finished rendering. Yeah, that looks pretty good to me. So the question really is the one on the timeline any better than the Fusion one, or vice versa? And to me, they're about the same. The only difference is the one on the edit page is easier to use, easier to set up than the one in the Fusion page. But I think you can get some really good results with the one in the Fusion page. I hope you liked this tutorial. If you did, please go down and hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.